Hello, I'm Tryg Jorgensen. My education starts with my grandmother. She telling me stories about little people. I was just always looking for them when I was a young man, or actually kid, excuse me. And I remember reading the first time I read about Corn Mother, the Hoyo Chishbosh, the unknown woman. And I just remember asking my grandmother, so are these things, these stories, are these angels? Are these our angels? She would giggle and she said, they probably are. I just noticed when I first got into school that there was something odd. As a Christian nation, we had uh, days of the weeks named for Norse gods, and our planets were named for Roman gods. And yet there was no place that was named for any tribal gods. I just remember thinking that was odd. I've been around education for more than a minute. I've seen a lot. I've been several places. I've taught at several different schools, urban schools, rural schools, also on the reservation. My education journey actually starts with my dad. He was a Nupiat, and the reason I say it begins with him is because of the trauma he suffered at Copper Valley Indian School. It shaped my life. His trauma, to say it didn't, would be a mistake. He was descended, his great grandfather was Nagaruk, and Nagaruk's daughter was Punichak. Also, my great grandmother Jessie. She is the one that married a Norwegian during the gold rush. That came into Nome, and then later on she would have children. And the first child is Trygve, my grandpa, who I'm named for. On my mom's side, we're Chata, and so I'm matrilineally Choctaw, and that's where I grew up. My Pogni just told me all kinds of stories. I miss hearing her speak Choctaw. Uh, she was the granddaughter of World War One co-talker Ben Carterby, and she told me stories about my family, how we came from the family of Philocoteby, turns and kills. My mom's activism started when I was just a baby. She told me that while we were living in Milpitas after my dad was discharged from the Navy there in San Francisco, that she would take groceries down to the Indian Center there in San Francisco to support the Alcatraz. I didn't know what she was talking about at the time when I was a kid. As I got older, I became really fascinated. She introduced me, as a matter of fact, to Grace Thorpe, the legend from the Sac and Fox, the daughter of Jim Thorpe. While this was going on, my mom was at Eastern Oklahoma State College. She was involved in the ERA, the Equal Rights Amendment, and she represented LaFleur County. Obviously, it didn't pass in Oklahoma, a very conservative state, and so the ERA was never adopted. Mom's activism extended further at OU when she was president of the American Indian Student Association. And I asked her about the Jean Leroy Hart thing, why she was raising money for it. And she said she wanted him to have a fair trial. And so the legal defense there, I started shaping. My mom's activism started shaping my own. Eventually, I just realized how much I love teaching about tribal history. I got to be one of the protesters at the 1992 Columbus Day at the state capitol. At one time, after they came out with the documentary on what happened on incident at Oglala, Talia Red Corn Asphyte introduced Mr. Kunstler. I just think about the mixture of individuals in my life that have influenced me and my educational point of view. I started out as Indian child welfare after graduate school with the Alabama Quasati, and got involved in education. In my own tribe, I was involved in the protest against my chief, who was he was attacking women. I would say education, Indian education especially, needs more activism, and so that's where I come from, and that's why I'm doing this.